What's the cost of that, roughly?
Good question. It
Roughly-
does have a range.
Yeah, it does have a range, roughly around $500.
Nice.
Okay.
You guys, my birthday's coming up. Just
Just
saying.
Party.
If you guys want to rent
and
it
this
out
is
for me.
this is your
Party.
40th, right?
Yes, thank you,
Oh
Trent.
my gosh.
You're welcome.
Appreciate you.
It's
Yeah.
21. It's a big year.
21.
30.
It's
right.
really
30.
21.
Well, I mean, it'd be a great thing to do for your 40th.
Heck yeah.
Footloose, we'll watch it.
No.
Just for you, Jeff.
Yes.
No.
And we're going to get Kevin there.
Kevin will come for me.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay.
Where
We'll
we
watch it.
failed,
We'll
we
watch
Amber's
succeed.
birthday.
A good movie from 1984.
Oh, that's a great
See.
idea.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
1984.
Or potentially
We
the
could
movie
watch-
Well, we're coming up on
1984.
40
yeah.
years. Like,
Yeah.
it probably is Footloose. Because
Yeah.
the
Oh,
40th
that's right.
It is the 40th
It is
anniversary.
1984
You
for
freaking
Footloose.
jackwagon movie.
Yeah.
Have you not been listening to anything Jake's been saying?
Can you stop it with the math?
Thanks, Trent. So this is a perfect transition. So
Yeah.
our main topic is the founders of Maven Cinemas,
Mhm.
Dvorah and Joe Governale.
Yep.
Governale,
yep.
Yeah.
My understanding is this was kind of a retirement dream of yours to open to
That was the
reinstate this specific movie theater, or just to have a movie
Just
theater
to
in general.
keep an old movie theater going and be
That's
able
so
to
cool.
show old films in an old theater.
So
Yeah.
anyone from American Fork knows the Sticky Shoe Theater that's on Main Street right next to Marco's, and there's a barber shop on the other side, or Papa John's.
Yeah.
I was going to ask,
And-
is sticky shoe, is that a bad slang or is that okay? Because it
We
might slip.
embrace it, actually.
It's okay now.
Do you,
Okay.
do you,
It used
sure
to be
at
a
first.
pretty accurate description of the building.
Yes.
Yeah.
do you guys
It
clean the
earned
floor
its
with
names.
soda so that it can maintain the Sticky Shoe?
We actually say we try to do this in name only and not actually sticky shoes. Although we did have an older gentleman come out and he complained. He of course was in jest, but he said, "There's something wrong. There's no sticky shoes. My shoes aren't sticky."
It's not sticky.
Yeah. So we've joked that we should make just this one little,
Just one little like
plate to
square
put
foot
on the ground.
area, so that
Oh,
if you're
yeah.
missing
So
it, you have a place
if you
to step.
miss
It's a
your
mat.
shoes getting
It's a mat
sticky,
you
yes.
walk through. You walk through the sticky mat.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Nostalgic corner.
That's
Yes,
right.
the nostalgia corner.
The chair with no spring in it. It's just like
Yeah.
screws in your butt.
We may, yeah.
Exactly.
If I'm getting a full update personally, I do have other questions like, do all the seats work?
They do not all work.
Okay, is it the
you're
original
talking
seats?
about seats that
They
are
are-
74 years
They are the
old.
original.
They
I'm
are
pretty sure they're the
original.
original.
Keep 'em.
That's actually
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
So if you're in
keep 'em.
Auditorium 1, there's definitely about half a dozen seats over on the left-hand side that they are done. They are very done.
When
Oh
the
my
theater was built, it was actually one auditorium. It was a big one.
One
So
room.
800,
Big, giant.
800
We
people,
talked about
one
this
big
earlier.
room.
Are you serious?
Yes.
You might have been doing
I think you were
sound
up
check,
messing
so
with the sound.
You have an excuse.
Well, thank you.
And somewhere
I was looking
late
for one
70s,
with
early
skis.
80s is when they put a wall down the middle and turned
Yep.
it into two. So when we took it over, we were a little confused because the aisles go right down the center of the auditorium.
Yeah, and
We're
they're so
like,
long.
Why would you do
Yeah.
that? Because those are the best seats is the center. And it wasn't till a little while after we were there that we were like, well, now it makes sense. Those were actually the side aisles when it was
Right.
one big room, and they just took out the center seats, put
Yeah.
a wall down the middle, and turned it into two rooms.
So what we actually need to do is talk to the owners and get into the old shed out back, because it's obvious that all the seats they took out in the late 70s to turn it into two theaters so it could go from the Coral Cinema to the Town Cinemas. Those are all just sitting in a big,
They're probably
big
primo.
giant pile.
Yeah.
Well, they probably are the best ones. They only had 30 years of people sitting in them instead of 75. So what we should do is go and get those parts and do a little fixer-upper on the ones that are dying. But it is very cool to think about the cinema history that those seats
I love
have
it.
seen. I mean, we just showed The Thin Man, which would have been released the year before this building became a theater. But it was wild to look at that and think that was what the world was when
Yeah.
this building became a movie theater.
Yeah.
And it's really cool to be a part of that legacy and a part of that history and try to continue that, being a piece of, community for American Fork.
Yeah, that's so great.
I mean, I've watched the most random movies there,
Yeah.
and I don't know why. We like The Count of Monte Cristo that came out in like
Oh,
early
that's
2000
a
or
good
late
one.
90s.
Late 90s, early 2000s.
I remember
yeah.
watching The Jungle Book when I was little.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, his hat. I watched Jurassic Park there.
You did?
Awesome. Oh, that's epic.
I've watched. I mean, this is what listeners on the podcast want to hear is what we watched there.
Yes. I mean, if they're from American Fork, they probably do. We've been
Yeah.
told many stories of the films that people have seen there. We were told about Alien. We had a gentleman tell us
cool.
he came and saw Alien when it was a new release, and how flabbergasted he was that there was some couple with a baby. And he was like, "What?
Oh yeah.
Why would you bring a young child to Aliens? What are you doing?"
Yeah, kids like Alien versus Predator a lot more than just their first
Come on.
Absolutely. So much more appropriate.
Yeah.
Does a newborn get it? Like, are they going to get scared? Like,
No, they get it more than anyone. Like, I just came out
fair.
of someone's
I am an
stomach.
alien.
I can relate.
They made a movie about me.
Yeah, it's a documentary. I love this.
So really,
This
the
is
perfect
great. I'm
movie
already
for them.
famous. We actually had our health inspector came, make sure we had everything all clean and good to go for concessions. And he did, by the way, just so you guys know. But he had grown up in American Fork, and he said that he went to see movies there back in the 60s.
Wow.
And he had this memory of sitting with his dad, and I wish I could remember the title. It was The Sheriff something. But, you know, that was when they still had to do several reels, and you had to manually change the reels.
Oh, wow.
Joe started in the industry when you put all the reels together and it would sit on a giant tray. So you wouldn't have to
Right.
change the reels. You just had to build them. But apparently the projectionist that day was just having a bad day. Just a real bad day because all the reels kept being shown out of order. And then he'd like re-show a reel when he was supposed to change
great.
to another
Spoiler.
one. And he said his dad just kept having to go up to the booth and be like, "Hey, you got the wrong reel on." He said it took him almost 4 hours to get through this movie
Oh my
because the
gosh.
projectionist just wasn't doing it quite
We
right.
just watched that.
Yeah, I was like, why are we back to this part of the movie?
Wait, is that how Tarantino got the idea? Like, let's
Maybe.
start at the end.
Maybe it
Let's
was
go back to
him.
the
That was
Yeah.
probably Memento right there. Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Exactly. So yeah, we had a father who came with his son. He looked like he was maybe 10 years old. He told us that he was a teenager in 1989 when Little Mermaid came out.
Uh-huh.
So when we showed that, he said he lived right behind the theater, and there was something about that movie. He just loved it so much, and he came every single day that summer to
Oh,
see
that's
Little
cool.
Mermaid.
Wow.
He said he wound up seeing it 60 times in that theater, and he loved that his 61st time seeing it in that theater was with his son, and his son being able to see it up on the big screen. With
Did he
surround
marry a
sound and
ginger?
everything. He must.
I feel
I
like
mean, he
there's a
must
reason you
have,
watch
right?
it, yeah.
I know it's got
All
to
right,
mean
we've all
that.
seen this.
It's got to mean that.
Yeah.
Ariel's Trent's favorite.
At 14, I would totally get it.
Right. So honestly, people might love hearing the movies you guys saw there because
Oh,
we hear all
yeah.
about the stories.
I saw Lord of the Rings there,
Yeah.
and I gotta ask, what kind of what kind of system do you use? Is it a digital system now, or how does the theater
it is
work?
all digital.
So yeah, as of 2012, the movie theater industry said we're not releasing movies on film anymore.
Yeah.
So any theater pretty much that exists since 2012 has been forced to go digital.
Mm-hmm.
Now some have held on to their 35 millimeter projectors, but those are 35 millimeter prints now are really rare. They don't
Right.
make them anymore. So even if you want to show them, they're really expensive to rent. You have to get
Every
really
time
high
you play it, you
insurance.
wear the film down.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
So the older the film, the lower the quality.
Do you guys own any 35 millimeter?
We did find an
No.
old box of the old little trailers. So we've got
Oh,
the little
some
teeny
old
tiny
movie
reels of
trailers.
old
Yeah.
movie trailers.
That's kinda cool,
About
though.
it. And actually, also out in that old shed is the original 35 millimeter projector, and it's just sitting in a heap on the floor,
wow.
rusting. It makes
Oh,
us so
wow.
sad. We have so many goals, and that's definitely on our list to eventually kind of rescue that. We'd never get it functioning again.
Yeah, but
just
maybe
to put it
some
back
on
together on
display or
display,
something.
so you can
Yeah.
have that piece of history there.
Yep. So
Yeah.
we're fully digital. We have 5.1 surround sound.
Oh, awesome.
Most of the tech stuff is pretty good. It looks good. It sounds good, which is the most important when you're going
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Because I don't know what year Lord of the Rings came out, but it was not like that. So I remember leaving the theater going like, "Yeah, it's an okay movie." Anyway, it was fun.
About 2000 is when the first one
Is
Yeah,
that when it
right
came?
around
Okay,
2000.
so yeah, it was probably
Yeah,
just
because last year I think was the 20th anniversary for
it was
the
2001,
third one.
2002, 2003. Were
Yeah, so
Yeah,
last year was 20th for Return of the King, and we did have the surround sound improved for that. We of course still have our very old seats, so that was the first time we got a less than 5-star review. So they're like, these
Somebody
seats
sitting through 12
are
hours of
not
Lord of the
fun for
Rings.
12
Yeah.
hours. And we're like, well, we don't disagree with you. We just
Yeah.
don't. We're not quite to that point of swapping them out
Yeah.
yet.
What seat is good for 12 hours?
Yeah,
I mean,
really.
come on, that
Really.
is a very,
Good point.
very
Any
good
seat.
point.
Nikes on your feet seat.
Right.
What was the first movie you guys watched just alone in there? Because you probably watch movies just the two of you in there.
Oh,
That's a good
awesome.
question. We don't get to do it as often as we like. It takes a lot of work and time to run this little theater.
But have you done it though?
But we
just the
have
two of
done
you?
a few. We've done, for sure, we did Muppet Christmas Carol because one of the things that we've done forever is to make sure we watch that movie on Christmas Eve because of the song. After all, there's only one more sleep till Christmas. But we don't rent the theater space on Sundays because there's a church actually that already was there and rents it out. So this year, Christmas Eve was on a Sunday, so we couldn't show the movie on a Sunday. So we did go in and watch that. And in the beginning, when we were still, we are still getting the word out there, but in the beginning, when we were still getting the word out there, we did have a couple times no one showed up for a movie, and we went ahead and just watched the movie that was starting since it was just us in the theater.
That's cool.
But,
Do you play Christmas Vacation during Christmas time?
We tried. Oh, no, we did get that one. We did get that one.
we
There
did
were a
it.
couple titles we tried that we couldn't get the rights.
Yeah,
but
we had
yes,
pretty good turnout for Christmas
that
Vacation.
one
I
was
would come-
well
I-
attended. Yes.
Like you guys are on my radar now. Like before, I wasn't really paying attention, but I'm like, yeah, I will drive down to watch some older movies with my
Yes.
I've been
kids
paying
for
attention
sure.
all day.
You know what, Trent?
Like
on, let me-
before this second
Let me see
right
how
now.
much
you haven't
coffee's
paid
in here. Yeah, I'm halfway through my coffee. I know it's been like an hour,
Give
but
him a
come on,
break.
be nice.
We need to do Indiana Jones.
We just did it. Dang it. We just did it. Although we did have a few people point out we only did 1 through 3. Dial
The
of
only
Destiny,
good
of course, was very, very
Careful.
Dial of Destiny is very new. And there's a nice, rounded out feel when you do through Last Crusade. But we did have a few people point out that we need to have the other 2. So I'm sure we'll do it again and bring back Crystal Skull and Dial of Destiny. We have learned that if it's a newer film, especially if it was in the last couple of years or even in the last decade, those do tend to be our less attended films. We have
They're not
been,
as nostalgic. When they're
we've been
still
learning
new.
it is much more about, it's not as much about the movie experience as it is about reliving nostalgia. Being in this old theater, experiencing a film that's near and dear to you or that you want to experience because you never could. That's really what people gravitate towards with us for sure is what we're learning. So yeah. So as much as we do agree with our patrons, yes, Crystal Skull and Dial of Destiny are part of the canon, but the real, nostalgia experience is the one that takes you back further.
Go see Ghostbusters or something where it's like, where else are you going to go see that? Nowhere.
Yeah.
Really. I mean, in Utah anyways, but
It's so true. We showed it at Halloween and we're hoping to show it again as the new one's getting ready to come out.
right. Yeah.
We do try to do that. We tried to do that with Hunger Games. We tried to do that with Willy Wonka. Sometimes we just can't get the rights. So we did try to play those right before the new ones and the studio said no, but hopefully we'll be able to make that a good tradition. If you want to see the old one before you go see the new one, will be a great destination spot for that as we get into the right calendar rhythm with the rights.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I have a pretty serious question, so
right.
brace yourself. Do you guys sell full dill pickles?
We have been asked that, and we were just talking about how we need to add that to our concession. We started just with your class.
I know it's very difficult.
These are important.
I just
Actually,
have a question,
we really want to hear these things. Like a lot of the candy selection we have now is because people have asked, well, why don't you carry Raisinets or why don't you carry Milk
Oh,
Duds?
that's funny, yeah.
So we have them now, and we've actually had some people who are like, you have it because of me. I'm going to make sure I buy it. We're like, yes, absolutely. But yeah, we started with just the classics. So we definitely hope to expand for sure.
I mean, you can't get more classic than a pickle.
Are you eating
I think that's
pickles
from the
in
turn of
the
the
movie
century.
theater?
There's something about it. I don't know what my dad used to always go get a pickle, and it was like probably because it was the cheapest thing that you could get at the theater.
How annoying is that to hear a pickle crunch
That's true.
in the middle of a
I didn't think
freaking
about
movie? Yeah.
Shake your drink.
Popcorn's pretty crunchy too.
Yeah,
Isn't that
But a
not dope?
pickle
Yeah.
rings.
You gotta
It
open
rings
your
out.
mouth.
Yeah. There's a lot. And the smell. Interesting movie
Okay.
choice. Great.
I'm realizing we
We're
don't go
going.
to movies with Jeff ever.
Well, I
There's
think
my
this
we
should be
won't
our
be.
next
Yeah.
If you're
our
bringing
next
pickles.
poll. Yeah.
Well,
Do you want pickles in the theater?
Hell
or do you
yes,
not
I
want
do.
pickles in
Yeah.
the theater? This should be the next one.
and don't try and quarter them or anything. Don't go weird. Just full size pickle. You know what I mean?
Don't go weird. I want a full size pickle.
Trent, don't read into that too far. But you know who used to sell pickles, and me and my dad would go to movies all the time. Was Movies 8 in Orem?
Oh, yeah.
On State Street.
I mean, they're
Yes.
gone now, but that was the last remaining dollar theater, I think.
Oh,
in
man. I forgot about
existence.
that theater.
No, this one over here was open for a long time where the Texas Roadhouse is.
Oh,
They only closed like 2 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Is that
That
the
was a dollar
one in
theater?
Sandy?
Yeah.
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 Yeah, there
Yep.
was a Cinemark 9 in Sandy that was there for
Oh,
a
really?
while.
Yeah.
Yeah, as
Yeah.
a
I think
dollar
a church
theater.
just bought that building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does the admission price fluctuate at your, or it's called an admission price, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we do kind of the standard things. We have a matinee price, an evening price, and then we chose Mondays as our discount ticket day.
Mm-hmm.
So Mondays, adults are $5 all day, and children are $2 all day, which is great.
Cool.
And we've named that our sticky shoe special. So Monday
that's
is the
cute.
sticky shoe special.
That's cool.
Clever.
Yeah. And then, of course, we have pricing for when we do marathons and double features, and we do some special events like sing-alongs and things like that. So
How far out do you set up your programming?
we try to do about a month if
Okay.
we can.
And what's
Yeah.
the best way to figure out to do that, to map out a month for us to see?
Right. The process we take is we will take 3x5 cards.
Uh-huh.
Little
And
index
we'll-
cards.
You take a full sheet of paper and write each week of the month out, and we'll literally on our living room floor sit there with 3x5 cards, write out all the movies, and just start shuffling them around because it's a huge.
So we always
It's a
have way
puzzle.
more titles.
It's a really
we
big
wanna
puzzle
show than we
because every
can.
week we want to make sure we're having a wide enough variety that there's something for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of it is shuffling around, and then some don't make the cut and they get saved for the next time. And
We even will take pictures of those. We're learning to make sure we take pictures of the ones that didn't make the cut because once we submit everything to our booker, inevitably there will be at least half a dozen titles that come back that the studios
Yeah.
have for some reason.
Oh, right.
We can't get the
probably 5 to
rights.
10% of what we request gets denied for any number of reasons. So
Yeah.
we have to do replacements. Sometimes movies have blackout dates, so there's like a certain range of dates we can't show a movie, but we could show it on either side of
Later,
that.
so then we'll rearrange based on when we can get
Yeah.
them.
So it's usually just a big shuffling game, jigsaw puzzle sort of
Yeah.
process.
And
So
the
then-
titles we write on the cards, we try to get them as much from our community as possible.
Right.
I mean, we know what we love to watch, but we can't possibly know everything in cinema history. Again, it's over a century old.
Yeah.
And then we'll also have movies we just didn't think about. As many Google searches as we have done,
Mm-hmm.
we'll have titles we just haven't thought about in a while, and we get so excited when someone writes it on the board
Right.
in our lobby or submits it on social media, and we're like, oh yes, we have to try for that title. So we're always trying to make sure that we squeeze in what people are wanting to see, because obviously it's about what the community
Yeah.
wants to see.
That's
and then, like
cool.
Joe said, just try to make sure we kind of spread it out. So there's something family friendly, get a horror in there, 90s comedy, 80s romance, something
Cinema
great
classic,
action,
yeah,
old
pre-70s,
golden Hollywood
whatever,
era.
yep.
Just try to make sure there's a little spattering of that. So, because we, of course, have loved going to the movies for most of our lives, our whole lives. And it's always sad when you hit those little lulls. You know how, you hit kind of like January is kind of common for that. September's kind of common. There's just not as many titles you might be as excited. So if we've hit a time that we're excited to go have the movie theater going experience, but there's not something we're excited to see, that's always a bummer. So we're hoping that we can be a space that when you are like, oh, I want to go see a movie, there's something you do want to see.
So once you guys have back from the studios, whenever you kind of have your month set up, how can we figure out what's playing for the next month? Or do you release it by week, or how does that work?
We've kind of gotten the habit. So a typical first run theater, they find out their bookings for Friday the Monday before.
Okay.
Because usually it's pretty standard. The major motion pictures opening this Friday, you're going to get it. There's not a lot of surprises there. So the typical cycle for studios is Monday you approve, Friday, 5 days later. Because of what we're doing, we're trying to schedule further out, but you can't always predict when the studios are going to be able to approve everything. So we kind of release stuff on a rolling basis as it gets approved.
Okay.
Because on occasion, there's a movie that they don't approve till the Monday before we want to show it. And we
Yeah.
can't save a whole week
Yeah.
last minute.
So you guys release that on Facebook, Instagram?
Yeah, we have our social media,
Okay.
we have our website, and we have a newsletter. So as soon as we have the rights and we're able to, and Joe gets it all into the computer, you'll see it show up on our website, and you
Cool.
can scroll through all of the upcoming titles. And then, of course, we'll try to do blasts so that we can try to let people know. So we'll do that with the newsletter. We oftentimes will do like a just added post on our Instagram and Facebook and TikTok, so you can see something that's just been added. And we always get excited to see, what other people get excited about. So
So our website, mavencinemas.com, is the best place to see everything. Everything that's on sale is going to be right there on the homepage for you to scroll through.
Yeah.
On our webpage, you can find our newsletter. So if you want reminders of what's coming up so you don't miss something, we'll send out at least one, if not a couple emails a week with the next week's schedule or events coming up.
Nice.
And then obviously following us on social media will also help you just kind of see what's coming. I think that's the biggest learning curve for people is every week we get 8 to 10 movies. They each show 4 to 6 times. So you really have to watch the schedule or you might just miss the movie you're excited about.
Yeah, it's such a totally different concept. That's why I wanted to clarify that because, like you said, you can pretty much look online anywhere and see where the new movie theater is and what's going to be in there.
Yeah.
But this is like, gosh, yeah, if you're showing Edward Scissorhands, like I might want to go or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Well, it always breaks our heart when we, have someone that got excited for a title, but it doesn't fit into their schedule.
yeah.
And, the studios give us the rights basically from Friday at midnight through Thursday at midnight. So that's why we try to keep it within that 1 week
yeah.
time period. Because then, we're paying for the rights again the next week. And, we feel like the films we're showing are very cool, but we also acknowledge they're not new releases. And especially, I feel like now it's still a very new concept to go and watch something that you previously loved back on the big screen.
Yeah.
So, we know that if we spread it out over too long of a period of time and have too many showtimes,
Yeah.
then, we are more prone to have empty houses. And so we're trying to find that balance where it works with the schedule of the members of our community that want to see films, but we can also, keep the building open and running and going and, just keep it alive. So we're
fun.
always trying to listen and hear what people need. I know we had like American Tail. We wound up only showing that at matinee times. So we did get quite a bit of feedback of people who were like, well, I want to see this, but I'm still at work. So that was the first time we did, talk to the studios. We got the rights for a second week and we added a few showtimes the next week. And we did have people show up there that were like, oh, you brought it back. Great. I'm able to see it now. So we're wanting to be malleable and evolve and be what is best for the community.
I didn't know people got that excited about crying in a theater.
Yeah.
American Tail. Jesus.
Yes. And they do.
I'd avoid that.
Are you guys from American Fork or you just found the theater?
Just found the theater. We're not from Utah, either of us. We've really only been here for about half a decade. We've both have had very short stints earlier in our lives in Utah, but kind of have lived all over between the two of us. But like you guys were saying earlier, this was something we intended to have as like that third act, like, oh, okay, we're done. Let's just have this as our fun retirement thing that we do, even though nothing about this feels like we could have done that in our retirement. We're working all the time. I'm like, oh, I'm glad we did this in our second act instead. But we came across the building for sale on KSL this summer, and we weren't in a place to purchase the building, but we did reach out to the owners and said, I don't know if you're willing to take a short-term chance on us, but this is something, Joe knows the operations of movie theaters in and out from his career experience. And we're like, we'd love to just, do a proof of concept, get the word out, see if people really would show up and watch these movies. And so we've been so grateful for our time there. And the building did change ownership recently, just in the last month. So we're, curious to see what they're going to do with the building. But in the meantime, we're so thrilled to be there and be able to continue to bring this, to American Fork.
That's awesome.
There was a time where every town had one of these theaters.
Right.
Like everyone did. It was a 1 or 2 screen in literally every town. And now so many of them are gone, and they're just falling off. So, it was something I really wanted in this idea was to find one of those old theaters that has such a rich cinema history and preserve it and keep it running as a theater. So it's been really cool to be able to find one and do this there. So
That's cool.
For sure. And you get to hear all the old stories, like the guy whose dad was a teenager when the movie theater was opened and would sneak in the men's bathroom window to sneak into the movie to get around the box office. And
That's funny.
you get to like hear all these old stories, but then like it's really cool to watch you become part of new stories. Like we had a young man who created a movie for his girlfriend, and he proposed to her a couple days before Christmas. So we made sure he had the theater all to himself and showed his movie, and he proposed. We put a very, very brief little post of that on our Instagram.
Did she say yes?
It looked like she did. She looked very happy. I was in the booth, so I couldn't hear anything, but she looked happy. We had a whole family. Actually, we had several families come to Scrooge because there was a theater up in Salt Lake that used to show the movie Scrooge from 1978, and that had been their family a tradition for so many years, and then they couldn't do it anymore, and they were so thrilled. We made it so their family got to bring that tradition back to
That's cool.
their holiday season, and just it's cool to be part of new stories now for people. It's really, really touching and amazing.
All right, we have 2 questions for you.
Oh,
Each of you.
us. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Number 1, what's a nostalgic movie? What's a movie you would want to see back on the big screen?
Mm.
And number 2, what's the first movie you saw
Ever saw on a
in
big
the
screen?
big screen? So what's one that you'd be like, dude, if that was playing in the big screen, I would be there? And then what's the first one?
They wouldn't play it anymore, but I'd love to see Blazing Saddles on the big screen.
Actually, we have that on our list.
Oh, you
We're
do?
planning
Yep.
to show that soon.
it's just one of those that people are like, I'm not
Yes.
going to that anymore.
Well, you
Actually,
have to
people
go
have brought it
now.
up just yesterday. Someone asked about it. We're like, yeah, we
I think
just
it's in
did
its
Spaceballs.
50th anniversary this
Yeah,
year.
I think
Is
it's
it?
a 50
Yep.
year this year. So
I'd
it's
totally
actually
go to
on
that,
our
yeah.
list. We're hoping to do that this summer if we can get the right.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Yeah.
I have like a list. I don't know if I can tell you one, but like some of the ones coming to mind right now. Maverick. I don't know why. Just love that movie.
Nice.
Never
The Mel
seen it.
Mel
Gibson?
Yes,
You've
Mel
never
Gibson.
seen
Yep.
it?
No, I've seen it, but
Oh.
never on a big screen.
Of course,
Yeah.
Always like
It's like,
I just have a black and white, like 5.6 inch. That's how. No, I'm just teasing. Terminator, awesome.
Yes.
Jurassic Park would be so cool.
Yes, that's on our list for sure.
Yeah, probably Terminator 2 because Terminator 1 was whatever.
We did it as a double feature,
See, that would be
80s
cool.
action in November, and we've had so much feedback of folks who discovered us after November that they were like, oh, what? I missed that
Yeah.
movie. So I am certain that one's coming back
And-
later
and-
this year.
Most of the Tarantino stuff would be just freaking
Yes.
awesome. I don't know
Yes.
how that is, but yeah, those are just ones that came to mind.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Love that.
mine would be Pure Luck.
What is?
Okay.
Oh, was this?
I think
That's one of
someone
my
wrote that on the
favorites, an old
board
one.
recently.
Really?
I think.
Okay.
Is that the movie with
Poor luck.
that
Yeah,
one
Can't
guy?
think
Pure Luck.
Who's
It's
in
got
it?
Martin Short and
Okay.
See,
Danny
you guys
Glover.
You don't know this, but she's
Oh my gosh,
lying
Danny
right now.
Glover.
She wants to
I'm
see.
just
There's a movie with Keanu Reeves that she really wants to see in the theater,
oh, what is it?
but she'd probably fall asleep.
I would.
What was it?
Oh my
A
gosh.
Walk in the Clouds.
We're gonna have to do that one.
Jeff.
A Walk in the Clouds.
She had to admit that she watched it a lot going to sleep one episode, and she was so embarrassed to
I couldn't
admit
go
it.
to sleep.
Oh,
Yeah.
look at that. 1995. Okay. I
Yeah, Pure Luck.
vaguely recall this
No.
one.
It is
This
hilarious.
is a Walk in the Clouds.
Oh,
Walk in the
shoot,
Clouds. Sorry.
okay.
Walk in the Clouds.
We're gonna
We're
push
bringing
that
this up
hard.
again. No.
Yeah.
We'll do both of them.
Okay.
We'll do both.
Great. I'll be there for
We'll call
both.
it the Amber Special Week.
Yes, we will call it that.
Do it in March.
Yes,
my birthday.
Sounds
Rent the
fabulous. Yes,
theater
for
out.
your birthday. Now
You're turning
we
40?
found it. It's not Footloose. It's Walk in the Clouds. We found it.
Dagger eyes.
Jake, what would you
Yeah.
see?
First one that came to mind is Psycho.
What?
Yes, we did that
Nice,
as our
yeah.
Hitchcocktober series. I
Oh.
love that one. We will definitely do that one again.
Some scary ones would be cool. Like, what's the little
The Ring.
Yeah, the ring.
The Ring.
Isn't it the
Oh,
old
I didn't
style?
see that on big screen.
Oh. We just did My Bloody Valentine and The Blob
1981,
last
yep.
week.
And the
Oh, that's fun.
1958
Yeah, The
Blob.
Blob.
We did a
Yeah.
lot of Stephen King and Hitchcock. Because last year had Friday the 13th in October.
Yeah.
We did the original Friday the 13th
Okay.
and Halloween and Nightmare on Elm Street and Child's Play. So we did that as a big
That's cool.
horror fest.
And
in
then
October
in March,
last
we're going to
year.
be doing Leprechaun,
Yep.
Mhm.
which is Jennifer Aniston's first movie, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And it's this
So,
old
1993.
horror film from
Yep.
the 90s. Yeah.
I'd want to see Princess Bride too.
We've done
Good
that one
one.
twice
That one's
actually
so
in our
good.
4 months.
Yeah.
Yes.
That is the one movie I've seen more times than any other movie in my whole life.
Aw, that's awesome. I love that.
Disney's Newsies.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah, Newsies.
We
Yes.
talked
Yeah.
about
Too.
that
We
one.
need
Yeah.
to do that one.
Yeah.
Didn't you guys
We
do
love
that in
that one.
junior high?
Yeah.
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 Yes, we did.
Oh,
Yeah,
and a
you did.
classic. That's so classic. Yeah, we're going to have to add that one to the list.
What was the other question? Oh, the first movie we
First
saw in the
movie
theater.
Ever
saw in the
saw
movie
in a
theater.
movie theater.
Yeah.
Yes.
Little Mermaid.
Really?
I was 6.
That's cool.
Were you sitting next to that
Nice.
guy?
Probably because I think it was at the Sticky Shoe when I saw it.
You
Are you
probably,
serious?
I mean,
Then he was
odds are
there.
then that you were
Yeah.
in the same theater
It
as
could have
him
been.
back in
That's fine.
89. Yep. He was a teenager and you were 6. Yep.
I couldn't even tell you.
I know the
What
first one I
movie?
remember is The Jungle Book. They're at the theater, but
Yeah.
I don't know what it was before then.
We went to Sierra Shell Theater in Provo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's another.
I think
iconic one.
the first one I saw. I know the first one I was excited for. Like we worked all like for multiple weekends to earn the money from our parents to see on opening day The Lion King.
Yes.
That's the most memorable one. I probably saw a movie before then, but I don't really remember it.
Yeah. I remember seeing that with a double feature with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jamie Lee Curtis in True Lies.
Oh, that's
at
fun.
the
Oh my
Redwood
gosh.
Drive-In.
That's an interesting duo.
That's a-
Yeah, it really is.
My
Like,
dad
here's
was
the
like,
kids
all
are
right,
asleep."
girls, this
Yeah.
is what we're going to watch. He would take us, we watched Rambo and Rocky, and
Oh, when I
we
was
watched
little,
all the
yeah.
action that we, like, why were we being shown that as little girls? But I loved Rambo from like 5 years old.
I'll tell you some of my favorite movies when I was little, like sitting in front of the TV at home. Tremors. I don't
Oh my
know
gosh,
why.
that's one of his
Oh,
tops.
yes.
Speaking of Kevin
Really
Bacon.
wanna do-
Tremors.
Yep,
Yeah.
Speaking of
Oh,
Kevin
it's Kevin
really want to
Bacon
do
and
Tremors.
Yes.
Yes.
We've got that
So
on our
good.
list
That
for
would be
sure.
fun.
That's one of his favorite.
Have
I
you
saw-
seen like Tremors 12, the most recent one?
Oh my gosh.
Terrible.
How are they still making
I don't know what they are, and I still watch them.
Tremors 12, Revenge of the Sharknado. Right? I think that's what it is. It would be fun to see one of those movies too, like the ones that are just so bad, like Sharknado.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you go with a big group of friends and
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
watch her.
Do it like Mystery Science Theater style.
Yes,
Oh.
we
Yeah.
want to. If
have
we can get a
discussed
host,
that.
we
Yeah,
do
have
want to
discussed
do
trying
that
to find
as a
some local
series.
comedians
That's
to
Really?
host
Yeah.
and do their own riff on
yeah.
something.
I'd show up
Yeah.
for that for sure.
Yes, you guys
Host
host
by-
it. It would be incredible. I'm not
American
joking.
Fork
Let's do
Podcast would
it.
love to host a Mystery Science.
Do it. Oh my gosh, you guys,
Absolutely.
I'm all
Great,
in.
yeah.
I am all in. At Christmas time, Joe discovered what is considered by some to be the predecessor of Home Alone. And it was basically the horror version of Home Alone. It came out, I don't know, 3 years
That's great.
before.
Dial Code Santa Claus. Yeah.
And it's a foreign film. It's
I
from
was going to
France.
say, is
It's
it
a
Krampus?
French. Yeah, it's a French movie.
Yep.
Yeah, about
Dial
a little
M.
boy that rigs all of these traps in his house, and there's a killer
There's some psycho
Literally
serial killer
killer
dressed as Santa. that
Santa
just,
mall Santa that
crashes
great.
his mansion
Wow.
for some
Yeah.
So
reason.
it's an actual horror film.
Yeah.
Like,
It's an actual movie, came out a year before Home Alone.
wow. Oh,
Yeah.
Yep.
that's where
Is that
That's
like
crazy.
the
Got
new
its
David
inspiration
Harbour
from?
film where he's like evil Santa?
No.
The
Oh,
Angry
Hopper from
Santa.
Violent
Angry
Violent
Santa.
the
Violent
Violent Santa.
Night.
Yeah, I kept calling it Naughty Santa.
Violent Night.
I'm like, we need to go see Naughty Santa. They were like, that's
different.
not what it's
Totally
called.
different film.
That's not what it's called.
Not family.
We're having a naughty Santa night. Like, hell yeah, we are.
I'm like, sorry, violent night,
Yeah.
violent night.
And Naughty Violent Santa, you do not want to see that one. That was really
That's
bad.
how that couple died.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, really?
That's why there's all the Christmas stuff around, right?
They had a thing. They had a-
Oh dear.
Friend.
But yeah,
And we're going to hell.
no. As long as your first movie in the movie theater is good, you're good. And,
Oh, okay.
You know, Lion King is perfect.
Yes.
Lion
Yeah,
King's
it was good.
perfect.
You're passed for heaven now.
Yeah, exactly. It counts. It totally counts.
Yes.
Did you guys have any questions about the snack bar? Or am I the only one that's going to look like an idiot asking about pickles?
About the pickle.
York peppermint patties is my only request.
Oh,
Do you guys
we've got
have
the
those?
tiny version, junior mints, but we should
Oh
look
yeah,
at the
junior mints.
actual
I guess
pepper
that's
patties.
more movie theaters. Junior mints for sure.
But yeah, no, I love a good York peppermint patty.
Do you guys
Right.
have a cooler for some of your treats?
We have just a little coolers. We do keep junior mints in there, and we've got some other. We've got like a Rockstar drink and coffee drink and some bottled fountains to supplement what we have on the actual fountain and Jarritos.
What are you
Those are
looking
pretty
for,
popular.
Jake?
Mhm.
I know you got something in mind.
Junior mints refrigerated.
Oh, okay.
Yep,
Okay.
we do.
Oh,
we have
absolutely.
always a little pile of junior
100%.
mints in there.
Yep.
I thought you were just going to
Half
bring your own treats and leave them in there and be like, hey,
Can you?
yeah, can I have those back?
Fridge?
Yeah.
If
I heard you had a fridge here.
By the way, if I need to be my own supplier for the pickles and buy them from you, I'm okay with that. I'll do it. As long as I can take them in the theater and eat them.
Yes,
We need to
Very
work on your
quietly.
pickle thing.
Pickles are good.
I want to do a
Thank
poll
you.
now. Yeah.
They are quieter when they're quartered, though.
Can you not? Please.
Oh, don't mess
But-
with it.
Don't mess
But you
around.
can quarter it and still put all 4 quarters in the.
You
little
can.
baggie.
You can. I'm not going to.
I was trying to
So-
think of the.
Does anyone eat Reese's Pieces without putting them on the popcorn?
I do.
I do. You put them on the popcorn?
I think
Yeah, a
Milk
lot of
Duds is
people
actually
do.
the more common.
Yeah, Mel
Yeah,
also
over
dips
dips
I do
the
that
pickle
with
in
Milk
his
Duds.
put it over
popcorn.
your popcorn.
Sprinkle them
Yeah.
in the popcorn.
Yep.
And
Yep. And I feel like M&M's is another popular one.
Yeah.
Yeah. We
What's-
have these great little sharing trays And parents especially love those. So they're perfect. You pour a little popcorn, pour a little candy.
Oh,
Perfect little mix.
I like
That was-
jalapenos on my popcorn.
Yeah, I've actually,
Yeah.
I've
Squeeze
actually
me.
had some friends
Baking
that
powder?
they love that.
Oh, some of the comedies that would be good too. I know, like
Yes.
Adam Sandler stuff. Like,
We're going to do a Happy Gilmore showing.
Oh my
because
gosh.
Carl
51st
Weathers is in
Dates.
it.
Carl Weathers is in that
I
one, yeah.
love 51st Dates.
Yeah, that is a good one.
Yes.
Wedding
Yes.
Singer.
Oh,
No,
yes.
I think-
Actually,
Yeah.
we want to do Wedding Singer and a bunch of other wedding themed in June. Do a whole like June bride theme.
Chris
Just show a
Farley
bunch
week?
of those.
yeah, Chris Farley. Like, what's the one where
Beverly
he's
Hills.
selling brake pads? What's that one? I'm serious. I can't remember the name.
Remember.
What is that one?
Chris Farley's selling brake pads with his buddy.
David Spade.
With David
Yeah,
Spade.
David
Oh.
Spade, big guy in a
Tommy
little
Boy.
jacket.
Yeah, that
Tommy Boy.
Yes,
Tommy Boy.
Tommy Boy.
Tommy
Tommy
Thank
Boy. I would go
you.
see that for sure.
Yes.
What's the matter,
We should find
Richard?
his
Cat got
birthday
your
and do a
tongue?
we love Chris Farley week.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah, we'd love to start doing some of those, like the We Love Bruce marathon and the We Love Morgan Freeman marathon. And
Like
We Love
Caddyshack
Arnold.
would be good. Like
Yeah. I bet that one actually do pretty great. We've been shocked to see, so we've been putting a lot of the stuff that came out in the late 90s when we were teenagers, and we thought it would be all people our age coming to those, but it's all high school and college kids. So we just did Clueless
Oh,
and
yeah.
10 Things I Hate About
Mhm.
You,
Mhm.
and it was almost 100% teenagers and very
Do
young.
Oh my
the
gosh.
original
That's cool.
Mean Girls.
We did
Oh, yeah, that
on
would be a
Wednesdays.
good
We
one.
were pink with the new Barbie and Mean Girls, but again, we were pretty new, so we didn't get a big attendance to that. But it did remind us of okay, we need to do older films, and the trailer for the musical had just come out, so we thought it would do all right, but. We're still getting the word out, which is why we appreciate being here with you guys, getting the
Yeah.
word out.
I got you guys are gonna kick out of this. So I show my kids older movies, and it's funny to hear their feedback on it. So I have a
Yeah.
12-year-old daughter, and one of her favorite movies, not just like, oh yeah, I really liked that, it was awesome. She's watched it 3 or 4 times. She had a friend sleep over at the house who's the same age, and they watched it together. And you'll never guess, it was Weekend at Bernie's.
Oh my
That's funny.
They
goodness.
freaking loved it. They thought it was
hysterical.
so funny, and I'm like, this is. I was shocked that they liked it. I thought for sure it was going to lose them,
That's amazing.
but they loved it. They thought it was so funny.
That's amazing.
We really are seeing that like the 80s, 90s stuff is like
yeah.
what the younger crowd wants to
Yeah.
see. Like,
Well, and the
Yeah, we did a
clothing
high school
trends, too. It's
reunion
coming back
in
around.
January. We did
Breakfast
16
Club. and-
candles and Breakfast Club. And
yeah.
yeah, it was a ton of teenagers that they were like, yeah, the 80s classics. I'm like, great. That's great.
Yeah.
Like we said, there's something for everyone. And if that's what you love, great. We love it. We'll keep putting it on that big screen.
My 8-year-old daughter's dream is to be in the 80s. She said.
Aw. Well, we'll show as many 80s movies as we can, and you bring her, and that because we tell people our theater is probably the closest thing to an actual time machine experience
There
you
you
can
go. Yeah.
possibly have, because you walk into this old theater and then you are immersed in this old film, and that probably is about as close as you
Yeah.
could ever come
You
to
could sell.
actually going
You could
back
sell
in
like
time.
jinkos and
Yeah.
fanny packs.
Yes,
And
yes, exactly. So yeah, you tell her we'll show all the 80s movies, and that will be the closest she can get to actually living in the
awesome.
80s.
It's funny. We're talking about the 80s, but in the 80s, they'd be talking about the 40s. It's they don't
Yeah.
look at it nostalgic like that.
Yes. We actually, there's a theater that does this in the same thing in London, obviously a very different market than we have here in Utah County. But so they're very successful. We love looking at what they do for programming. It's the Prince Charles Theater. They actually do this solve along murder mystery. And there is an episode of Murder, She Wrote where they took an old movie from the 40s and they made the episode a sequel to that movie. And I've thought, oh my gosh, how fun would that be to show the old movie and then the Murder, She Wrote episode and do the solve along like they do at Prince Charles.
That's funny.
Because that's so
Make
true.
like an
That's-
event out of it.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
you look at a lot of 80s content, there's so many references. I mean, a lot of fashion was coming from the 40s, and yeah, there were obviously a lot of references at that time. But it is wild to think about that. Like how have we come that far from the 80s? Because the 40s felt like it had been eons before.
Yeah.
And now that's that same distance. It's wild. It's pretty wild.
Crazy.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Well, math is crazy. I'm just kidding.
Math is crazy.
It is
I
funny
agree
that
with you
things go in
completely.
cycles, though. It's
Yeah.
it's fun.
Yeah, it's so true.
Well, I know you guys are on my radar now.
Yay.
You can watch Instagram. see what movies are out there.
Yes.
Take the kids to it. I'm loving it.
Perfect. You guys tell us what titles you want. We'll work very hard to get them into the schedule.
So,
for sure.
so to subscribe to your newsletter, go to mavencinemas.com.
Absolutely.
Yep, right
There's
in
a button to
the header.
subscribe,
There's
put in
an
says
email.
newsletters.
Okay.
Yep,
Yep.
absolutely.
I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always know what's coming up.
We'll keep sharing your Instagram posts on our story, and
Love that.
maybe we'll have Amber's birthday party over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need
Let's
to
do
have
it,
Yeah.
an
guys.
American
Gotta
Fork
celebrate.
tonight.
Mhm.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, an
Yeah.
American
all
Fork
your folks
tonight.
come out and watch your movie.
It's so great.
Yeah.
I still am all about that Mystery Science Theater.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
that
I'm all
seriously
for
would
that.
be so great.
Because there's a stage that was put into the Auditorium 1 back in the 80s. So it would be perfect. We
That's
could just-
funny.
Yeah. And these
Have
guys would be
good.
perfect for that.
Yes.
I don't know. Getting a little introverted now here.
Don't be
Once there's
shy.
actual people in
Yeah.
front of you.
Well, we'd need to film it just like it is in the show.
Yeah, exactly.
With the
Yeah.
camera behind us.
Yeah,
Yes. Actually, that's true. We just see the silhouette
Yeah.
at the back of your heads. Yes. The back of your seats. I
Yeah.
love that. so
Well,
good.
anything else from Maven Cinemas that you
Yeah.
guys feel are you would like the community to know about?
Yeah. Just that we are happy to be here and we want to make sure we get to keep doing great things with everybody. Make sure people get to keep having a great time. It always surprises me when people are leaving and they are thanking us for providing the opportunity for that experience. Because when else do you get to see those
That's true.
beloved
Yeah.
films
Yeah.
in that format?
That's cool.
Yeah,
so
just
great.
so thrilled to be doing it. I'm sure Joe has something.
Oh, I was just going to say
Just gonna tag on.
one unique thing about what we do. So obviously we show a lot of old films. Disney actually has a classification. So Disney
Yeah.
classifies theaters in two ways. You're either a first run theater or you're a revival theater.
Mhm.
And they actually limit their library based on that. So if you're a first run theater for Disney, you can only show their first run things.
Mhm.
So in
Up to
Utah,
6
that's
months.
pretty much everyone
Yeah.
except us.
Yeah.
We are, I think, the only ones in Utah that are considered a retro theater or a revival theater for them. So we have access to anything 6 months old or older in the Disney library, and no other theater does.
Oh,
cool.
wow.
Yeah.
Does that
That's very
include
cool.
like Star Wars and the
It
newer
includes
stuff that they
everything.
everything they own?
Fox,
Everything that,
Everything.
yeah, Fox You Stone, all of
Wow.
that stuff is available. So,
Yeah.
you know, like as we do programming for kids, you'll notice
Yeah,
we're
we'll do
doing
a
a
big
lot of
summer
like
program.
old animation, like Robin Hood is
Mhm.
playing this week, the
Oh, neat.
1973 Robin Hood. We can do that, and any theater that shows first runs can't do that.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's
It
cool.
was a choice they made
So-
as a company as the
Yeah.
pandemic was hitting.
That's
They
why we had a
decided
lot
to
of
do
people
that.
ask us, like, I thought Star Wars was really hard to get a hold of. How were you able to do Star Wars?
We had some people very certain we had just run to Best Buy and was just
That's
showing
great.
Wow.
the DVD. We're like, no, you don't make Disney upset.
Yeah.
That's something
Yeah,
you
so
do.
what do you
imagine.
Gonna narc me out? What are you?
Yeah, they absolutely would.
So,
Stitches get stitches. Let's go.
so because of our classification, we have access to screen that when
That's
Yeah.
when we
cool.
want to. So it's really kind of neat. So we do have some, like a lot of the stuff that we show, we alone have access to it in the
Yeah.
surrounding area. Like
Mm.
we're the
Yeah.
theater if you want to see something Disney, old school Disney back on the big screen.
Wow.
Like we're the place that can do it. So
I love
that's a pretty neat thing.
And if
Yeah.
we want to like book a private event, like Amber's birthday or whatever, like how
Yeah.
far ahead do you have to do it? And you guys say like you can't always get movies. So do people give you like a list of 3 and you know the Monday before? Like how does that work?
So we normally we recommend planning about a month out.
Yeah.
Minimum
Definitely
it's
not less
probably
than 2
about 2
weeks.
weeks
Yeah.
because it does take time to book
the
it
hard
and to have
drives
them
and-
send us everything.
Ingest.
And yeah, I usually recommend if it's not something we're already showing, I usually recommend like send us your top 3.
Yeah.
Mm.
But we also just
Usually-
recommend go ahead
yeah.
and pick something we're already showing because then it's here. And,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
and because we do try to have something for everyone, hopefully that, will be still a good option.
Yeah, if you
List
pick
of
something
options
we're
for you.
showing the week we're showing it, it's discounted because
You're already buying it.
we're already
Yeah,
renting
it's already
it. So
there.
That makes
Yeah.
sense.
it does cost us a little bit still, but it's diffused
Yeah.
through the
It's-
week.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yep. So that's definitely the best for us, but yeah, for the process in general. And so if it's a last minute thing, that'll be for sure the best option.
But if somebody rents it out, like, and you guys buy that, you could still go through and show that throughout the week to other people.
Yeah,
It
totally.
depends. It
We're
depends.
not already
No.
just completely
Yeah.
programmed
No,
out.
if it's something that we're getting on a special event thing, usually it's a special rate for a one-time showing.
Really?
That's because
Right.
essentially they classify it as admission, no admission. So a private rental would be a no admission because you're renting it for a one thing, and we're not charging you a per person admission. So there's a distinction there.
Okay.
Yeah.
But usually if it pairs with what we're already doing, essentially it becomes a ticketed event,
Right.
versus a private screening. So
Yeah. And it's another reason why we don't do as many new titles, because another classification they'll use is they want a brand new title to have a clean screen for usually at least 2 weeks.
Oh.
And because we're a cinema that only has the 2 theaters, that super limits us if we can only put one title.
yeah,
for a
clean
couple
screen means
weeks.
it's the only title playing in that
We're not
screen
going to
the
show
entire
anything
week.
else in that theater.
Yeah, back to
just
back.
that title.
Yep.
Gotcha.
So, and where we do have, a couple of new release theaters right on either side of us. And the new release experience, of course, is really great. But I think you've got that really kind of covered with them. So we stick to the retro classics. Like we were talking about it. It really is more about the nostalgia experience, honestly, more even than the movie going experience. Yeah.
That's great.
Love it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool.
So, go to mavencinemas.com and check
Yeah.
out what they're about.
And more
If you wanna
importantly,
subscribe to their
go to the theater,
yes.
get
Go
their
to the-
pickles.
get
Buy
their-
lots of popcorn. Get lots of candy. I
eat
always
'em
love when
next
someone
to
can't
Trent.
decide and they literally just get 3 boxes of candy. I'm like, yes, live that life. I love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well-
We just so appreciate the opportunity to be
Yes,
able to
thank you
tell
for having
people
us.
about
Yeah.
this. It seems like when people do discover us, they get sad if they've missed a title or excited that we're there. So we want to spread the word as much as we can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what I've experienced is you guys are very responsive on Instagram. We send
We
you a
try to
message
be.
and
Yeah.
you respond back, and so that's cool that you value the input from the community to see what
Yeah.
people want to
It's
want to watch.
everything. Yeah.
It's really how a place like this is going to succeed, is showing what people
Yeah.
want to see. And like Dvorah said a little bit, it's, we could program what we like, but we all, the idea of nostalgia is sometimes you connect with a movie, in a personal way that you would really want to see it again. And sometimes it doesn't matter, like, if the movie is good or bad.
Right.
You've
Mhm.
just had an experience maybe with friends or whatever.
Yeah.
We had somebody that had to come celebrate The Princess Bride. They came to see it because their first date was going to see The Princess Bride
That's
in
cool.
1987 when
Yeah.
it came out. So they
Yeah.
just have that connection
that
to that
theater.
movie.
Yeah.
So it's really cool that we can kind of provide a wide, broad range of films so that we can help people connect with those nostalgic movies that they've experienced.
Yeah.
We had a dad who had just absolutely adored Dead Poets Society. I think he said it was his
that'd be
favorite
cool.
movie. But because of how important the movie was to him, he kind of refused to watch it on his TV at home.
Oh.
It had to be experienced like that. So he's had 2 teenage sons he had told about this movie all of their lives, but he wouldn't let them watch it. And so when we had it on the big screen, he was like, this is it. And he was just so
That's good.
proud to bring his sons
Oh, wow.
and have that experience in that theater on the big screen with his sons and show them this film that was so important to him.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah. We love it so much.
Cool. We love what you're doing, and we wish you the best of luck, and
Thank you.
Thank you.
hope it just gets more and more popular.
Yeah, we do too. Yeah.
Going to see movies is one of the greatest things.
Yeah.
One
It
of my
is.
favorite activities.
There's really nothing like it. It's such an immersive storytelling experience. You've got all the elements right there, sound and visual and performance and art. It's all right there. And, it's just so important for our communities to have that. Storytelling helps inspire us. It helps inspire ourselves, and also to help us do good things around us. And it can heal us and connect us. And yeah, we're just so grateful to be able to provide that.
And the movie
that
theater is
storytelling.
where they were made to be seen.
Yeah.
That's how they made them, was to
Yeah.
be seen up on the big screen.
That was
So,
the point. See it
Yeah.
really big. We love when people do the whole, I've been missing all of these details watching this on my
Yeah.
little TV over the years.
Exactly.
So yeah. Thank you so much. We're so grateful for this opportunity.
You bet.
Cool.
It's good to
Anytime.
meet you. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
And we appreciate you being on the show, and thanks everyone for listening.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Sticky Show, I need you. Sticky Show.